What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content that we have coming out. Now, with this video, we are jumping into DC versus vampires. This will be issue number 1, coming from the minds of James Tynion and Matthew Rosenberg. We're going to be following Andrew Bennett, the vampire from I, Vampire. And this is going to be a 12-issue limited series. And we figure it's about time that they come into this. With them doing the whole zombie thing, with all of the major events going on, we figured it was only a matter of time before we saw some more vampires showing up. And the vampires are coming to take over the universe. And with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this first issue, we're picking up at the Hall of Justice, or just outside of the Hall of Justice. And that is where we have Andrew Bennett, completely covered up, avoiding the sun as much as possible, but needing to move during the daytime, because right now, Andrew Bennett is on the run. I, Vampire is making his way to the Hall of Justice to try and find the Justice League, having nowhere else to turn and needing their help. Not only him, but the entire world is going to need their help. Being forced to run and hide, use the daylight to his advantage, because right now he is being hunted. But at this point, Andrew has no clue who they could be, believing them to be absolutely anybody. And with each passing day, they are growing closer and closer to him. Now, as Bennett starts to reach the Hall of Justice, just outside of it, he tries crossing the street only to get hit by a car. Being hit by this car, people rush over to try and help him, to see if he is okay. With his bandages coming undone, he starts to be exposed to the sun and we see him start to catch fire. But lucky for him, there is someone home. That someone being our Green Lantern Hal Jordan. And with Hal Jordan finding him outside, spontaneously bursting into flames, he uses the power of the ring to shield him and bring him inside. And with them going inside, they lay him down, give him a little bit time to rest. And in that time, we see him waking up. And what Bennett is trying to tell Hal Jordan is that it's not safe. Not only that, he needs to speak to all of the Justice League. He needs to talk to everybody because there is a world-ending event coming their way. Now, unfortunately, Justice League is currently off planet. The only one that is behind is Green Lantern. Well, Green Lantern and our Wonder Twin Zane, with him coming into the room, kind of just breaking up the party. Hal Jordan has a kind of distaste for him. It's not that he doesn't like him, he just finds him a bit annoying. But after we get a little bit of small talk out of the way, Bennett starts to drop into the conversation, talking more specifically about what they know about vampires. More specifically, do they know of Mary, Queen of Blood? And while they know a little bit of the history, Andrew Bennett was married to the Queen. But over time, due to differences, they parted ways and they became nemesis. Now, Mary, Queen of Blood, she is a vampire elder. She is the leader of the Cult of Blood Red Moon. And whatever she wants, whatever she wishes, is considered law among all of the vampires. She is the one that sets the tone for all other vampires to follow. Now, obviously, vampires don't seem like the best of things, but Mary was the only thing stopping vampires from trying to take over the world, from killing as many humans as they see fit. Over the last century, Mary has been the only thing standing between chaos and order. But the issue is, Mary, Queen of Blood, she is now dead. More specifically, someone has murdered her, and she was the only thing holding back all-out war. Now, of course, Hal Jordan, he has to ask the question, did you kill her? Though you may have been her lover at one point in time, you are saying that you are enemies more or less. And because of that, that raises the question that you might be the prime suspect in this case. But Bennett says that it wasn't him, that in fact he had spent the last couple of weeks trying to hunt down that murderer, chasing down dead ends, going for any kind of rumor, any kind of lead that he can get. But every lead, every path, it led him to one spot, and that is the Legion of Doom. Now, sneaking in wouldn't be extremely easy, but Bennett, turning into a bat, he thinks that he can slip in and at least try to figure out why they murdered her. What was the reason behind killing Mary? But when he arrived inside, the only thing that he found were bodies. Bodies of all the Legion of Doom, or at least a good majority of the Legion. And so whoever killed Mary, they got here first. And it was an absolute bloodbath. Definitely being the work of vampires. Mary's death was not random. It was more the start of a revolution, part of a much bigger plan. Now, Andrew, he feared that this might be the beginning of the war against the humans. But after going through the Legion of Doom and seeing what these people had planned, the plan isn't just to go to war with the humans. This is a plan for all-out genocide, with them having some kind of plan to block out the sun forever, so that vampires could walk the grounds freely, never worrying about sunlight. Now, realizing how significant of a plan this is, he knows that he has to get out of here, that he has to go warn somebody. And as he goes to make his exit, this is where somebody stops him. That somebody being Lex Luthor. Now, Lex Luthor holding a wooden stake in his hand, ready to impale Andrew, believing him to be one of them that came here and slaughtered everybody. But he quickly learns that Andrew is not working with them or for them or anything of that nature, that while he may be a vampire, his intentions are not to hurt anybody here. Now, Lex Luthor, at this point, he's not able to leave. He's on his deathbed sitting right here, but he writes down an address. He gives it to Andrew and tells him that he needs to go to this place, that if he is going to fight back against them, not knowing who they are, not knowing who it could be, believing that he was in cahoots with all of this to begin with, that if he is going to fight back, that address needs to be his next stop. Now, obviously, Andrew knows that the Justice League, they're not just going to believe him. They're not just going to trust a vampire. But Lex Luthor, he takes some of his blood, a good vial, out of his neck and says to take this to them. Show them what it can do. Show them how they can trust you and how to win this war. And as he sits here saying that they will eventually return and that he doesn't want to be turned into a vampire, they are only leaving him here so they can torture and toy with him, getting everything they wanted out of him. There is no use for Lex Luthor anymore, at least in the vampire's eyes. And so he asks Andrew Bennett to kill him, not through vampire fangs or anything of that nature, but to use his hands, to extinguish his life and ensure that he cannot return. And with his dying breath, he tells him to let the world know that it was me who saved them. And as Andrew tries to make his escape, we see Gorilla Grodd, we see Cheetah, appearing to be vampires, chasing him down. Getting caught up by one of these vampires, they grab him and throw him against the wall. Taking a little bit of Lex's blood, he injects it into this guy's eye, and he turns to ash immediately, recognizing the weapon that he has in his hand. How this can alter the course of this entire war, to give humans a real fighting chance. And so he is able to slip away. He runs, he hides, he moves during the daytime, he uses the sun to his advantage, not sure if he is going to be able to make it where he needs to go, having their agents everywhere. That's what led him to the Justice League, and that's what brings us back to current time. Now, Hal Jordan, he finds this a little bit difficult to believe. You know, that's a big story to tell. And he is a vampire at the end of the day. So what good reason should they believe this? Now, Bennett tells him that he doesn't have any proof to this, and no one else can corroborate this story. And so it really looks like it's unbelievable. But this is where we see the tone drastically change. We see the Wonder Twin get tied up by a Green Lantern construct, and we see that Hal Jordan, our Green Lantern, he is an agent of chaos. He is a vampire. Now, by all appearances, Hal Jordan has been able to hide his vampirism, not knowing how long he's been able to hide it, but he has been using his Green Lantern ring. More or less, he's been using it as a shield to reflect all of the UV rays that have been coming down from the sun, to block out anything harmful that could hurt him. And Hal Jordan, he can also produce that amount of sunlight, enough to burn down a vampire to ashes. And that's exactly what we see Hal Jordan do, with him simultaneously killing our Wonder Twin and also killing Andrew Bennett, burning him completely to ashes. Hal Jordan, he makes a phone call to someone he calls Master, saying that the job is done, that the traitor has been taken care of. Not only that, he has not told anybody else about what is going on. And so, as everyone else is aware, there is no war, there is no vampire nation that's about ready to attack. It is going to take all of them completely by surprise. But of course, that takes us to the Batcave. Later that night, with Bruce Wayne making his way back home, Alfred is waiting for him, waiting with a message. And that message is telling the entire story of what is going on, from start to finish, breaking it all down, because Batman was his first stop. Before he went to the Hall of Justice, he stopped by Wayne Manor. This is the address that Lex Luthor gave him, telling him to stop here first before anywhere else. Because if anybody can stop the vampires from taking over the entire world, it would be none other than Batman. Not only that, Batman is armed with the one weapon that is going to take them all down, and that is Lex Luthor's blood. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. With Halloween just around the corner, this is a great issue to currently drop. And so personally, I think it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy the artwork. I truly enjoy the story. It's a great way to start this story out, using Andrew Bennett to really introduce everything that's going on. Finding out that the Queen Mary this entire time has really been trying to protect humanity, calling a ceasefire, if you will. And for the last century, that is held up until someone has come and murdered her. And now we have no idea who has been turned into a vampire. We know for sure that the Green Lantern has been turned, Hal Jordan has been turned. And it's even possible that Oliver Queen has also been turned. And so while the vampires move in the shadows, one by one we see them taking down members of the Justice League. This is all in an attempt to try to block out the sun. And so as this story moves forward, I am hugely anticipating where it's going to go, how it's going to end. Giving it 12 issues, I think is going to do justice to the whole story moving forward. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you have not yet, do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content we have coming out, and until the next breakdown.